disappointment and anger in Uvalde after the release of a new report into how police handled the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. Officers responded within minutes, but it took them more than an hour to take down the lone gunman. After the shooting, the city hired an outside investigator to review the Uvalde Police Department's response. The review identified failures, but found no UPD officers violated protocol. As Monica Madden shows us, the report brought a heated response from a community still seeking accountability.
Families have been waiting nearly 2 years for accountability after they say police failed to save their children in a timely manner. Nearly 400 law enforcement officers responded to the scene, and only 2 have lost their jobs.
We keep getting kicked while we're already down.
Outrage in Uvalde Thursday.
You call that good faith? They stood there 77 minutes and waited. After they got call after call, the kids were still alive in there.
After investigator Jesse Prado, a former Austin police detective, found no Uvalde police violated department policy in their response to the shooting.
There was no evidence of serious acts of misconduct in direct violation of Uvalde Police Department's policies.
Prado did cite communication failures also found in January's DOJ review, but did not share any novel findings in his report.
This is not what we wanted, and this will not happen how we thought it would happen.
Families of victims stormed out in frustration before confronting Prado in public comment.
But a lot of them were left for dead by some of our law enforcement. There is no policy change will eliminate their fear and their hesitation to do what is right in the positions they serve. And for that, they should be terminated.
It all comes as the Uvalde County DA has convened a grand jury over the Robb shooting, but families are left feeling hopeless in their fight for justice.
These people, they have been serving for years. Nothing's going to change. There's no training, there is no policy that is going to make them put someone else above their own safety.
Prado's finding that stirred up the audience the most was when he said that police could not establish a command post due to crowd control as distressed parents flooded the school to try and find out what was happening with their children. Now, it is worth noting that Texas Ranger Ryan Kindle is still pending termination, citing that he did not set up a command post. One law enforcement officer that I spoke to says it's common at mass shootings to have issues with crowds, but police still have to establish a command post for response. In Uvalde, Monica Madden, back to you.
There has been a change in leadership in Uvalde. The city elected a new mayor, Cody Smith. He takes over for Don McLaughlin. On Tuesday, McLaughlin won the Republican nomination for Texas House District 80. Democrats Cecilia Castellano and Rosie Cuellar are in a runoff to determine who will be his opponent in November. The state senator who represents Uvalde lost his bid to be the Democrats' nominee for U.S. Senate. Roland Gutierrez got emotional in his concession speech when he talked about the families of those Uvalde victims.
I told you I don't cry about elections. It was about Jace, it was about Jayla. But I'll forever cry about these children.
Gutierrez will now head back to the Texas Senate. He told us he plans to file legislation to help the Uvalde families, including a bill to create a $300 million fund for the shooting victims' families.
I think we're absolutely going to refile our victims' compensation fund for these families, look at creating some kind of fund for the Uvalde tragedy, because probably more than any other mass shooting in the state, cops were completely negligent. And you now have heard the same footage that I have seen, which is cops over and over, including state police, saying there's an AR-15, there's an AR-15. They were hamstrung by their fear, and it kept them from doing their jobs. So if that's not gross negligence, I don't know what is.
Last session, Gutierrez and other leaders asked Governor Abbott to remove the Uvalde County District Attorney from overseeing victim services. They said one family was at risk of having their power turned off while their daughter was in the hospital, and other families were offered only 2 weeks' pay. Texas ranchers struggling to survive amid the largest wildfire in state history, the scale of the damage, and how people in need are getting help. What did Texans think of the president's message in the State of the Union? Depends on which side of the aisle you're on. We'll hear from some Texans who saw the speech in person.